Two officers shot, that really taxes on your emotions. It makes your heart sink.
There's so much killing going on. It's upset. And every day someone is losing their life for craziness. It doesn't make any sense.
And then time you hear a gunshot, it makes you nervous, especially what just happened in Texas.
Just 3 days after the Texas massacre, hearts dropped today when shots were fired near a church in our community. The fear was instant, sending witnesses scrambling.
2 Forest Park police officers were shot. A suspect is dead. And just hours ago, the lockdown was lifted at Forest Park Middle School.
We have 3 journalists now working this story tonight. Christy Etheridge breaks down what happened. Naima Abdullahi has more on how the officers are doing tonight. And Joe Hankey spoke to the sister of the shooter about his possible motive. We will hear from all of them in a minute.
First, here's what started this all: a traffic stop in an area you may not be familiar with. We spent the day gathering information, talking to witnesses to piece together all that happened. At 10:40 a.m., Forest Park police responded to a call of a man driving recklessly on a motorcycle. They pulled him over on Mitchell Street. The man got off his bike, started shooting at officers, hitting 2 of them. He then ran behind one of these nearby homes. Just the length of a football field away, Forest Park Middle School went on lockdown. Officers swarmed the area searching for the wanted man, Jacob Bailey. They found him here behind one of these homes, dead.
Christy Etheridge was in the field where witnesses and police became emotional when talking about today's shooting. Christy, walk us through more of those conversations, if you would.
Jeff, this is affecting the community in a big way. All of this ended right here on this street. It's right down the street from a middle school, and you can see all of these houses along the street, so it's a very populated area. In fact, the suspect's motorcycle was parked right along the curb, just a couple houses down, and the shootout happened behind a house just down the street from here. So yes, this is a very emotional scene for a lot of people in this community, and this is still an active crime scene right now. But earlier, there were a lot of people out here who had come to the scene to check on friends and family. I ran into a couple high schoolers who heard about the shooting and came here because one of them had a brother in the 6th grade here at this middle school, and he just wanted to come make sure his brother was okay. Another man, Curtis Longino, his wife works at the school. He was right down the street when all of this happened. He actually heard the gunshots and then watched as all of the police cars with their lights and their sirens ran by. Luckily, his wife was out on a field trip, so she was safe, and soon after he learned the suspect, Jacob Bailey, was dead. But as a pastor, he had something to say about that.
As we say in the church, the wages of sin is death. So, you know, karma is something else. And his just came a little quicker. So we not praying on him that, you know, we was wishing for him to die, but, you know, you do wrong, wrong follow you.
And a lot of people went out of their way to come to the scene just out of concern for these 2 officers. One of them was Yvette Shackelford. Her daughter was actually a police officer in Orlando, Florida. She was killed in the line of duty responding to a Walmart last January and was shot by a suspect. So this hits very close to home for her. In fact, she was in tears when I spoke to her.
Upset because there's so much killing going on. Just upset. And every day someone is losing their life for craziness. It doesn't make any sense. Like my child did. It doesn't make, and they only out here, the officers are only out here doing their job, and just, it's just crazy, just crazy.
So let me set the scene for you here a little bit. Again, this is Mitchell Street, and if you look right down at the end of this street, that brick building is the middle school. So you can see just how close all of this happened to all of those students. So even though the suspect is dead, there is still a very heavy feeling out here as one of these officers fights for his life. Back to you.
Thank you, Christy. We are getting a lot of questions about this being the #1 question we're seeing on social media right now. Stella asking, does anyone know the condition of the officers? Naima Abdullahi has been working to answer that question all afternoon. And Naima, what is the update you can give us on these officers?
Well, we're just finding out right now. One officer was shot in the neck. Another officer was shot in the leg. And they were taken to two different hospitals. One was taken here at the Atlanta Medical Center. Another officer was taken to Grady. At the moment, we do not know their names, but here's what we do know. They're in their late 20s. They've been with the police department for about 2 years. And they're also both men. Here is the situation of the injuries. One is in critical condition, went into surgery, but we're told right before he went into surgery, he was awake, he was alert, he was talking. The other officer had non-life-threatening injuries, and they're expecting him to recover from the situation. Also, what we're also finding out is, despite the fact that they only have 2 years of experience with the agency, an officer who was at the scene told us that they both had prior experience with the police department. And the police department also says situations like what happened today is frightening. It terrifies the whole community, and it also reminds them that anytime they respond to a call, whether it's a domestic dispute, whether it's something a little bit more alarming, despite any kind of situation, they're constantly putting their lives on the line to protect and serve the community, and that can be very dangerous, as what we saw today.
To have two officers shot, that really taxes on your emotions. But everybody else is driven to catch that individual. And so, now that everybody can kind of relax and reflect, and we can focus on the well-being of the officers.
And within the last few hours, we've seen some Forest Park police vehicles pulling in and out of the Atlanta Medical Center. We'll continue monitoring their conditions to find out when one of the officers gets out of the surgery. And we'll also continue to work on exactly what their names are and which officer is at which hospital. So this is a developing story. As soon as we find out any updates, we'll bring it to you on air and online. Back to you.
All right, Naima, thank you.